Hey, and welcome everyone. This is Urgent Care Stories. Today, we're not going to do an urgent care episode. It's going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm going to create a series of 3 videos, all geared towards PA school, how to choose the right school, how to be a competitive PA school applicant, and then how to ace or nail the PA school interview process. So today's video is all going to be about how to pick the right program. Why do I feel like I'm somewhat of an expert on this? Well, I obviously went to PA school. I applied 2 different cycles, and I got in the second cycle, but I also helped my wife get into PA school her first try. And I didn't have any mentors during that whole process, and so I had to really learn by trial and error, and I had to teach myself a lot of things about it. I was also part of the interview process as a second-year PA student at the University of Florida, so when I went through the program, I was interviewing potential candidates, so I got to be on the other side as well. I've read several of the books that are out there about this whole process, and I just wanted to kind of create a couple of concise, short videos that could really help you get your feet wet in the world of becoming a PA. So if you are not a PA and you're not interested in being a PA, or if you're already through PA school, or whatever, this video is not for you. That's okay. This is going to be for those people who are interested in becoming PAs, or who are in the process of applying right now and they want to become more competitive. So video 1 right now is just going to be on how to choose the right program. So really quickly, what does it take to become a PA? Well, you have to have your undergraduate degree. So typically you're going to have something in the biology, physiology, psychology, chemistry, something in the sciences or health sciences world. The reason is that a lot of your prereqs are going to be taken care of with that degree path. Once you get your undergraduate degree, PA schools want to see that you have work experience, and that can be in a lot of different healthcare related fields, but you need to have work experience. You need to have some shadowing hours, you need to have some volunteer hours, and then you apply and you go to school. PA school is a master's level education. It's usually between 24 and 36 months depending on the program, and that's the process to become a PA. Once you go through your master's program and you pass your board exams, then you are certified. You're a board certified PA, and then you have to take a state license and keep that up to date with continuing medical education units every 2 years. That's the quick and dirty of how to become a PA. So the first step is, well, you've decided that you want to become a physician assistant, and what do I need to do next? Well, you need to find your degree. So a lot of people have already been in college or have already graduated from college by the time they decide to become a PA, but if you're somebody who doesn't have your undergrad yet, then that would be the first step. I typically recommend getting an undergrad in one of those health sciences fields. I had mine in strength and conditioning and health sciences. My wife had a business undergrad. It's a great degree to have, but the problem is a lot of people that I've seen go through PA school who have a business or something non-science related, they have a really hard time because all of these topics are brand new. They've never seen these words, they've never seen these concepts before, and you're going through things in such a fast pace in PA school that can be really challenging. So I would recommend, hey, get a general biology degree, get a health sciences degree, psychology, chemistry, exercise physiology, something of that path. That's what I'd recommend for you. The second thing you want to do is you want to have really good work experience. When you are looking to apply to the programs, you want to check with each of the programs that you're interested in, and you want to see what types of experiences they approve and how many hours they need. A lot of programs are going to need at least to see about 1 year full-time hours. So that's meaning 2,000 or more hours of experience. The more, the better, okay? So if you can find time to work in undergrad, part-time jobs or something like that, do it, because it's going to really help make you a much more competitive applicant right out of undergrad, okay? So there's 2 ways that you can go about choosing the programs that you want to apply to. The first way I recommend is by choosing the prerequisites. So this would be, let's say that you want to go to a program, but you don't want to take OChem 1 and 2, organic chemistry, and you don't want to take biochem. Well, that is a course of those 3 courses really limit which programs you're going to be able to apply to if you don't have those 3 courses. So that's one way to do it. That's the way that I did. The other way is to choose based on location. You find schools in a certain area that you want to live in. What I recommend is I say, hey, what undergrad classes do I want to take, and what am I willing to do, and what schools open up for me in that realm? Well, the way I did this was I went on the CASPA, which is the Common Application Service for Physician Assistant Schools, CASPA, CASPA, and they have a list of all of the accredited schools that they allow the common application to be applied to. So I made a list of all of those 270 some schools at the time, and I went to every single one of their websites and I said, okay, where is it located? What are the prereqs? What's the GRE? What's the GPA requirements? And then I made a list from there, and it took me like probably 15 hours of total time to make that list, but I was able to say, okay, I don't want to do any schools that have OChem 1 and 2 or biochem, because that's another 1.5 years of education that I have to have, and they have to be taken in a 1, 2, 3 order: OChem 1, OChem 2, biochem. So you can't just take them here and there, and a lot of times the schools only allow them to be taken fall, spring, fall. So it can really set you back a long way if you don't have those in your already scheduled out undergrad program. For me, I didn't decide I wanted to be a PA until later in my career. I was a senior in undergrad before I decided, and I had to quickly add on classes after I already graduated to become competitive. So that's the first thing I would recommend, is figure out which classes you're willing to take, which ones you're not going to take, and narrow down your list from there. That's going to narrow you down quite a bit. The second thing to do is to decide where you want to apply to school. The best advice I can give in regards to where you want to apply is, where do you want to work? So I would never work in New York. I would never work in California, and I don't want to live there either. So I'm not going to school there. Okay. That's an easy decision for me to cut those out. If you're somebody who's like, I definitely want to live in Texas, I think Texas is amazing, I want to live there, then great. Let's have you start looking for schools in Texas and see if you can become competitive. The reason I say pick a school in the state that you want to work in is because a lot of times when you go to apply for jobs, the pool or the ability to get a job right out of school is greatly going to be benefited from the people that you know in that area, the relationships you make, the rotations you go on. All of that is very important. So make sure, if you're interested in living in a certain place, consider applying to school there as well. The next thing I want to look at when I'm looking for a PA program is, what is their first time PANCE pass rate? The PANCE pass rate, I think nationally, was like 97% or something like that, maybe 96. It's pretty high. The program I went to had 100% pass rate during the time I went, and that's first time PANCE pass rate. So the first time that every student takes their exam, do all of them pass the boards? This is a really important number because it shows how well the program prepares you for the PANCE, which is your certification exam. If you have a program that has like a 75 or an 80% or something like that, you really should avoid that program, because clearly they are not teaching you what you need to know. So I would not recommend a program like that. You want to try to find somebody that has the national average or higher to be competitive. So 96% or higher. It should be pretty dang high. The next thing you want to talk about is the ARC-PA. That's the Accreditation Committee for Physician Assistant Programs. We want to talk about whether they have a full ARC-PA accreditation or if it's a provisional accreditation. A provisional accreditation is given to brand new programs who have not yet shown that they have stability of their outcomes and the training and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes people would argue like it's easier to get into those brand new schools. I really don't think that that's true from what I've seen and heard from a lot of people, because there's thousands of people that apply to each and every PA school. So I would really pick programs that are fully accredited. They don't have a provisional or a disciplinary remark on their accreditation. Just find somebody that is fully accredited through the ARC-PA. The next thing is talking about safety schools versus dream schools. How many schools should I apply to? That sort of stuff. So national average, getting into PA school, you have about a 5% chance of getting into PA school. Might have gone down slightly post-COVID, but at least when I was applying in 2015, that was the average, was 5% chance. So for me, I decided the second year that I was applying to PA school, I was like, I am getting in this year. I'm doing everything it takes. So I applied to 20 schools because 1 out of 20 is a 5% chance. So theoretically, if I apply to 20 schools, I should get accepted to at least one. That was my approach. I think 20 is excessive. I would usually recommend applying between 5 and 10 schools unless you are a stellar, outstanding applicant. If you can afford to pay for all of those Common Apps, do it. If you can't afford to pay for that many, then we will discuss how to become the most competitive applicant in later videos. Definitely make sure you listen to that content. Safety schools versus dream schools. What I would really do is just look critically at what the data is that they have on their website, the things that are important to the schools. You end up going to PA school where you get in. So if you're somebody that would not even go to school there, don't put it on your application lists. Like, I applied to a program in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was a PA school out of a strip mall in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It looked just terrible. And after doing the interview for that program, I realized I would never go to this program. It's in a strip mall. Like, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't look like a quality, high-level education, master's level training from a strip mall PA program. So after doing that interview process, I realized, okay, I should have been a little more aggressive on narrowing down my list and deciding only going to the schools that I felt I would actually go to if I got accepted to them. Dream schools, hey, if you want to apply to Duke, great. I applied both years. I didn't even get an interview offer. I think that can be somebody else who discusses the top 3 programs. I think if you want to apply for them, great, but don't expect that those are going to be your shoe-in schools. I think that they're just extremely competitive, and the top 3 programs they're going to be difficult to get into. But it's been done, and every year people get in, so all the more power to you if you want to do that. Last thing I wanted to discuss in this video was just talking about what I looked for and how I went about the process of applying to PA schools. So the first thing that I did, obviously, I narrowed down my list by who I had the prereqs for and who not. The second thing that I did was I looked at location. Do I want to live in this state? Do I want to go here for school? Do I want to work here afterwards? The next thing I was looking at is price. A public state-run school versus a private school, there's going to be a significant difference. In-state versus out-of-state. If you can find an in-state tuition, do it, because you're paying double the rate when you're out of state, and there's really no reason to pay that much. So it's pretty obscene. So if you can find an in-state school, I'd recommend it for you, just because whatever your student loans are, it's going to take you years to pay those off, and the least amount of student loans you can have after PA school is going to set you up for a much more successful financial future. So price is definitely part of the game. Next thing I'm looking at is what's the first time PANCE pass rate. I want to see that they have a 95, 96% or higher. I want to see that they have a really, really solid PANCE pass rate. The last thing that I wanted to decide was on the interview process. Now, I couldn't make this decision when I was just applying, but once I actually interviewed, that really helped narrow down the list to me. And when you start to interview at multiple programs, you'll get a feel for, how much do they actually care about me as a student? How interested are they in getting to know me? I had some interviews where I flew halfway across the country, spent $1,000 on airfare and a hotel for one night, interviewed, and it felt like they knew me for 2 minutes. Feels like that's the amount of time that they got, and they didn't even ask me any questions about myself. I didn't even get a chance to talk about myself, and it just felt like the biggest waste of time, and I was just so frustrated with programs like that who did that. So if you don't have a good interview process, pay attention to that, because that might impact how you do later on, and if you decide. The last thing that made the decision for me was the program I went to. They actually had a cadaver lab where you got to do the dissections yourself. I really enjoyed that, just because I think that there's so much that you can learn from anatomy and physiology, and by doing it yourself, I think was so helpful, and it really helped things stick a lot further for me. In hindsight, I don't think that's the biggest thing, because we were only doing anatomy for like 6 to 8 weeks. It was a very fast and furious, just quick course on anatomy. So I think it was a good selling point for the program. Do I think it was super important? Not really, but I do think that you should at least have cadavers to look at so you can see the pathology. You can see what coronary artery disease looks like. You can feel what a tumor looks like and feels like in the belly. You can see things on people and really hold it in your hands. I think that that's important for your learning in anatomy and physiology. So anyway, I hope that this information is helpful for you guys about how to pick the right PA program. The next video is going to be about how to become a competitive applicant. I think there's going to be a lot more helpful information there, but this is just kind of an intro video to the topic. All right, guys, enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.